Hey fam, Masbra here and welcome to my Retribution Paladin 5-part coaching videos. We're starting with part 1, overview and talents. Let's dive in. Strengths, beginner friendly, easy to learn playstyle that is forgiving of mistakes. Wide range of powerful defensive abilities, including both passive effects and active skills such as Divine Shield and Divine Protection. Versatile utility tools that prove useful across all types of content such as Blessing of Protection, Blessing of Sacrifice, or Blessing of Freedom. Effective self-healing abilities along with strong options to support your allies when necessary, for example, Word of Glory. Weaknesses, low mobility, with Divine Seed being your primary movement speed ability. You can also use Blessing of Freedom for the Unbound Freedom talent, which gives you 30% movement speed here. The utility you bring is less of value in high keys, for example, Sack, because you can't afford to use it a lot unless you pair it with a big defensive spell of yourself. Relatively low skill sailing also, which means after mastering all the basics and rotations, there is not much room of improvement for min-max left here, but there is some. Now enough about the overview, let's talk talents. First thing first, all the things to the talents you can find in the comment section below or type !talents on YouTube or on my Twitch chat. So what is the go-to hero talent as Red Paladins? Templar builds are far more powerful and they are optimal choice in nearly all scenarios. While Herald of the Sun builds can still be used, they tend to be much weaker overall. Crusading Strike versus Templar Strikes. Retribution has two primary build paths, those centered around Crusading Strikes and those that make us use Templar Strikes. Crusading Strikes builds offer steady passive holy power generation, though they suffer from more downtime. In contrast, Templar Strike builds keep the rotation active with little to no downtime but currently underperform in most situations. Since Crusading Strikes is significantly stronger right now, that's the talent we will choose. Single target talents. Templar is your go-to hero talent for single target, as we said before. This build is fully focused on min-maxing single target damage, skipping any cleave-related talents here. It combines Radiant Glory with Crusade, taking advantage of the extended proc duration and higher overall payoff. Cleave target talents. Templar is your go-to hero talent for cleaving. This setup is almost like the single target build, but swaps out the weakest single target talent for the strongest AOE choice. If you need more AOE, you can take talents such as Blade of Vengeance or Empyrean Power. AOE target talents. You can use this for Mythic Plus. Templar is your go-to hero talent for Mythic Plus. Also, it does more single target and has uncapped AOE potential provided by Wrathful Descent. Execute Sentence is like 4.5% more single target DPS, while Final Reconing is only 1% ahead on AOE before people ask, why are you not playing Final Reconing? It's just not worth. We are continuing with part number 2, stats, consumables, and enchants. Let's dive in. Stats. Strength is our primary strat, which increases all damage done by the class spells, abilities, and auto attacks. For secondary stats, Retribution Paladin has the following. Critical Strike. Boost our bonus damage and healing with nearly every ability. This includes spells, auto attacks, trinkets, and many other effects. Its value increased with talents such as Education, Heart of the Crusader, or Wrathful Descent in AOE situations for Templar. Haste speeds up your rotation by shortening both your global cooldown and the cooldowns of core abilities like Crusader Strike, Judgment, Blade of Justice, or Hammer of Wrath. It's a strong damage set, but can feel stronger than it really is, making it sometimes overrated. Mastery, High Lord's Judgment, enhance all holy damage dealt, effectively strengthening most of Retribution's core damage sources. It also gives Judgment a chance to inflict extra holy damage. Mastery influences all baseline spells and talents, so it doesn't affect racial abilities like Light's Judgment or external holy damage effects. Versatility, increase all damage done with simultaneously reducing incoming damage by half of that amount. It's mainly good for the defensive part. So, let's go on now to the sets breakdown for each hero talents. As you can see, both hero talents prioritize strength first, then mastery, crit, haste, and last but not least, versatility. As always, make sure to sim your character to find out which enchants, gems, or secondary stats you should craft for your gear. A link on how to sim is all the way on the bottom of the videos, as always. We are continuing with enchants. On the weapon, you want to have Stoneborn Artistry or Council's Guide. Just sim it for yourself. On the cloak, you want to have the enchant, the Chant of Winged Grace. On the chest, we put on Crystalline Radiance. Braces are getting Chant of Armored Avoidance. Legs are getting the Stormbound Armor Kit. Boots are getting Defender's March. And on the rings, it could be either Mastery or Crit, but also here, make sure to sim it. Going on consumables, as a flask, I recommend using Flask of Alchemical Chaos. As a combat potion, we use Tempered Potion. Health Potion is the new Invigoration Healing Potion. Weapon buffs are simply Algari Mana Oils. Then Augment Rune, we have the Crystallized Augment Rune. Make sure to push your rep of Karesh here to get the Infinite one. Food, we use the Sushi Special or just a Sport. And as a main diamond, Culminating Blasphemite. And for other gems, we have good options with the Quick Onyx, Masterful Emerald, Ruby, or Sapphire. Just put them all to the sim and let it work out for you. We have the part divided into 4 sections: passive, utility, defensives, and offensive abilities. Starting with the passive abilities, we have Mastery, High Lord's Judgment. Mastery is buffing this effect. Increase the damage of your holy spells and abilities and gives Judgment a chance to deal extra holy damage. Instrument of Retribution, you gain 9 seconds of evasion and ref where any group member dies. Sense Undead, shows the location of undead on your minimap, but nothing too crazy here. Utility abilities though. Redemption, your normal out of combat resurrection. Intercession, this is your battle res option. Hand of Reconing, this is your taunt button. Word of Glory, consumes 3 holy power to heal your target. Really OP and plus especially, I could save lots of wipes thanks to this to help the healer off. In hard healing encounters, this is a button you need to spam. Flash of Light, heal with a short cast time. Hammer of Justice, 6 seconds single target stun. It's really OP, so use it as much as you can. Rebuke is your interrupt for 3 seconds. And going on auras, we have 3. Consecration Aura, interrupt and silence effects on party members within 40 yards are 30% shorter. Crusader Aura, increases mounted speed by 20% for all party members within 40 yards. Devotion Aura, party members get your devotion, reducing damage taken by 3% within 40 yards. This is the one you definitely need to take. Then we have Divine Steed, leap on your charger for 8 seconds, increasing movement speed by 100% and has 2 charges. Blinding Light, blast big lights in all directions, blinding enemies within 10 yards, causing them to disorient for 6 seconds. If the mobs gets damaged somehow, this effect will cancel. Lay on Hands, heals a friendly target for 100% of their maximum HP. Blessing of Freedom, blessing a party member, granting them immunity to movement, impairing effects for 8 seconds, plus gives 30% movement speed if you have the Unbound Freedom talent. Blessing of Sacrifice, bless the party member, reducing their damage taken by 30%, but you suffer 100% of the damage prevented. Last 12 seconds, or until you fall below 20% HP. Blessing of Protection, bless the party member, granting immunity to physical damage and harmful effects for 10 seconds. Make sure to give this to someone who always takes aggro. Now we're going on defensive abilities. Divine Protection, reduce all damage you take by 20% for 8 seconds. Divine Shield, provides immunity to most damage and debuffs for 8 seconds. Shield of Vengeance, creates a shield that absorbs 4 million damage for 10 seconds right now. It's really good. When the shield expires, it bursts to inflict holy damage equal to the total amount absorbed. Offensive abilities, this section we will divide in 3. Builders, Spenders, and Cooldowns. Starting with Builders, Judgment, ranged holy damage spell that generates 1 holy power. Divine Toll, instantly cast Judgment on up to 5 targets within 30 yards. And yeah, these Judgments also deal even 100% more increased damage. Blade of Justice, ranged holy damage spell that generates 2 holy power. And Hammer of Wrath, ranged holy damage spell that generates 1 holy power. We're going on with Spenders. In single target, we use Final Verdict, consumes 3 holy power to deal holy damage. Your primary single target holy power spender here. And in AoE, 2+ targets, we use Divine Storm. Yeah, big AoE radiant damage does less damage beyond 5 targets though. But here's the most important tip. Please do never pet into like groups, especially if there is like a mini boss or boss and you pull mobs into it, or like there is neutral mobs. Do not pet and press Divine Storm. Yeah, press Final Verdict. Be an ethical game or be something I never saw in a pack before. Ethical. So we're going on cooldowns. Wake of Ashes, big frontal cone damage within 14 yards, which leaves a dot. Hammer of Light, after Wake of Ashes is casted, it turns to Hammer of Light, dealing big damage to your main targets and cleaves to 4 more targets. Additionally, it calls down Empyrean Hammers from the sky to strike 3 nearby enemies. Radiant Glory. Radiant Glory removes Avenging Wrath or Crusade as an active ability and instead automatically applies it when Wake of Ashes is used. Crusade, increase your haste and damage. Execution Sentence, a hammer falls from the sky after 8 seconds. They suffer 20% of the damage they took in the 8 seconds as holy damage. So your main goal here is, of course, fit as much damage as you can within this window. Final Reconing calls down a big AoE hammer and they also take 30% more damage from you for 12 seconds.
And last but not least, Divine Hammer, our biggest cooldown. Divine Hammers spin around you, striking enemies every 2 seconds while active. Each holy power spent increases the duration of Divine Hammer by 0.3 seconds. Deals reduced damage beyond 8 targets. Yeah, your goal is to have minimum 20 seconds uptime and opener here. So here you can see the opener. Make a screenshot and put it to your second screen and practice it until you get it done. So as you see, we start with the Blade of Justice to apply the expurgation debuff, which is basically a ticking dot on your target. Then we Divine Toll to basically apply the Judgment debuff, which lets your next Holy Power ability hit harder, and of course to get Divine Toll on CD here. Then we activate our big cooldown Divine Hammer, followed by Execution Sentence, and now we press our Trinket plus Prepot and send Wake of Ashes after. Now you press Hammer of Light and finish it off with a Judgment, and the opener is done. So let's jump straight into in-game to see it in action. So we have a pull timer here and we start at 0. Blade of Justice, Divine Toll, Divine Hammer, Execution Sentence, Trigger Pots, Wake of Ashes, Hammer of Light, and Judgment to finish it off. Continue with single target rotation after. And welcome to Muscle Guides, and let's dive into the last part of the guide. Here we can see the opener. Take a screenshot of it, put it in your second screen, and practice it until you get it down. We are opening with Blade of Justice to apply the expurgation debuff, which is basically a ticking dot on your target. Then we Judgment to hit 4 more targets with the debuff, thanks to the talent Blessed Champion, which basically makes your next Holy Power ability hit harder. Then we activate our big cooldown Divine Hammer, followed by Execution Sentence, and now we press our Trinket plus Prepot and send Wake of Ashes after. Now we use Hammer of Light, then we Divine Toll to basically apply the AOE Judgment debuff here on the targets, plus getting full Holy Power to finish off with another Hammer of Light, and the opener is done. So let's jump straight into the game to see it in action. We start with a pull timer here at 0, Blade of Justice, Judgment, Divine Hammer, Execution, Trinket plus Pots, Wake of Ashes, Hammer of Light, Divine Toll, Hammer of Light to finish it off, and continue with our AOE rotation. That's it with AOE Opener. Keep in mind, in my Patreon coaching tier, I go into much greater depth in min-max rotation and everything you need to know. So definitely check it out in my bio here. That's all for today's video. Comment below which class and specs you want to see next. You like the guides or not? If so, leave a like and a follow, and I see you in the next guide. If you would like to support my work, you can join my Patreon for free by using the link in my bio. There you will find all my week hours, including every DPS spec in the game, Mythic Plus Dungeon week hours, and class guide videos to help you master each DPS spec.